Did you know that children raised in overly strict homes are 50% more likely to suffer from anxiety as teenagers? Or that these kids often struggle with emotional connections, even with their own parents? It might sound surprising, but strict parenting, while often well-intentioned, can have long-lasting effects on a child's behavior and mental health. In this video, we'll explore the hidden habits that develop from overly strict parenting. You'll learn how these children might silently rebel, fear failure, or even become perfectionists. We'll also dive into real-life strategies to help kids break free from these patterns and build healthier habits. Stick around to discover how strict rules might be shaping the future of kids in ways you never expected. Chapter 1. The Silent Rebel. When rules breed defiance, overly strict parenting can lead children to develop silent rebellion. It may not always look like defiance, but kids raised with rigid rules tend to push back in subtle ways. These children often learn to follow rules just to avoid punishment, but deep inside, they start to feel resentful. This resentment grows as they reach their teenage years, when they begin to seek autonomy and freedom. Research suggests that children raised with high control but low warmth are more likely to develop behavioral problems. According to a study published in Child Development, strict parenting is associated with higher rates of rebelliousness in teenagers. When kids feel like they can't express themselves or make their own choices, they might start to hide their true feelings or act out in private. These silent rebels are often skilled at masking their emotions, avoiding conflict on the surface but harboring resentment internally. This habit of suppressing their true feelings can carry into adulthood, making them less likely to express vulnerability in relationships. The habit of silently rebelling can lead to distrust of authority figures as well. One major consequence is that these children may struggle to navigate authority later in life, whether at school, work, or in relationships. They often view rules as oppressive, leading to a lack of respect for any form of authority. This may cause issues in environments where compliance is expected, such as in the workplace or during group projects. The key to addressing this behavior lies in fostering open communication. If parents allow room for their children to voice their opinions and make decisions, it can lead to healthier self-expression. Strategies like giving kids age-appropriate choices help them feel empowered. For example, rather than giving them one option, offering 2 or 3 acceptable choices lets them feel more in control of their decisions. Chapter 2. Perfectionist Syndrome. When good enough feels like failure, strict parenting often leads to perfectionist tendencies in children. When every action is critiqued and nothing is ever good enough, kids start to develop unrealistic expectations of themselves. They grow up believing that making mistakes is unacceptable and that they must be perfect to be loved or accepted. This habit of striving for perfection can have long-lasting effects. According to a Psychology Today article, children who are raised in highly controlling environments are more likely to develop high standards for themselves and others. These kids often feel anxious and stressed, fearing that any misstep could lead to disappointment or punishment. The pursuit of perfection may not seem harmful at first, but it leads to anxiety and self-doubt. One study found that perfectionism is linked to higher levels of stress and depression. When children grow up in an environment where their worth is linked to their achievements, they may struggle with self-acceptance. The habit of perfectionism is often rooted in a deep fear of failure. Kids might avoid trying new things, afraid they won't succeed. They become reluctant to take risks or shy away from opportunities because of a deep-seated fear of making mistakes. To combat perfectionism, it's important for parents to shift their focus from outcomes to effort. Praise the process, not just the result. Instead of saying, "You did great on the test," try, "I'm proud of how hard you worked." This helps children value effort over perfection and build resilience in the face of setbacks. Chapter 3. Fear of failure. How worrying about mistakes stunts growth. A constant fear of failure is another common habit developed from overly strict parenting. Children raised in environments where mistakes are punished quickly learn to fear failure. This fear can be so overwhelming that it prevents them from trying new things or taking risks. It's as though their minds are trained to avoid failure at all costs, even if that means avoiding new experiences altogether. This fear of failure is often seen in children with a strong need for approval. They may become people pleasers, always trying to meet others' expectations to avoid criticism. According to a study in the Journal of Abnormal Child Psychology, children who experience excessive control often internalize fear and have trouble dealing with setbacks. As they grow, these children might struggle with anxiety. A report by the American Psychological Association revealed that children who grow up with high pressure, overly strict parenting styles are at a higher risk of developing anxiety disorders in adolescence and adulthood. The constant worry of failing prevents them from fully engaging in opportunities that could help them grow. Interestingly, one of the best ways to overcome the fear of failure is to embrace it as a natural part of life. Mistakes can actually be a powerful learning tool. When kids are encouraged to view failures as stepping stones, they become more resilient and adaptable. This mindset shift can be game-changing, but it requires parents to provide a safe space where kids can fail without judgment. For instance, if a child makes a mistake in school, instead of punishing them, ask them what they learned from the experience. This helps build a growth mindset, where failure is no longer something to avoid but something to learn from. Parents who model this mindset can have a significant influence on how their children handle challenges. If you're finding this helpful, don't forget to subscribe to get more parenting tips that help kids thrive. Chapter 4. Overthinkers. The habit of second-guessing every choice. Children raised in overly strict environments often develop the habit of overthinking. When parents are hypercritical, kids begin to second-guess everything they do, wondering if their choices will lead to mistakes or punishment. This can be exhausting, as they constantly search for the perfect answer in every situation. Research from the Journal of Abnormal Psychology shows that high parental control is a significant factor in fostering excessive self-doubt in children. The habit of overthinking stems from a constant fear of making the wrong choice. Children become so focused on avoiding mistakes that they waste time analyzing every possible outcome. A 2018 study found that overthinking is linked to higher levels of anxiety, as these kids are constantly caught in a loop of indecision. This behavior can cause delays in decision-making, making it harder for them to act confidently in the future. A child who worries about every possible consequence may avoid making choices altogether, leading to missed opportunities. As they grow, this habit can affect their career and personal life, causing unnecessary stress and hesitation. One key strategy to break this cycle is teaching children how to make decisions without fear of perfection. Encourage them to trust their instincts and teach them that it's okay to make mistakes. A 2017 study in child development showed that when children are given the freedom to make decisions on their own, they build confidence and reduce anxiety. Start small by giving kids a few options to choose from in everyday situations, like picking what to wear or deciding on an activity. Over time, they'll learn that they don't need to overanalyze every choice. The goal is to create an environment where decisions are seen as a natural part of life, not a source of stress. Parents can also help by modeling confident decision-making. Let them see that you make choices with confidence, even when they're not perfect. This teaches kids that making a decision is more important than making the right decision. Chapter 5. The perpetual people pleaser. Seeking validation from others. One of the most damaging habits developed through overly strict parenting is people-pleasing. Kids raised in high-control homes often become adults who seek constant approval. They believe that their worth is tied to how others see them, leading them to prioritize others' needs over their own. This pattern starts when children grow up in environments where love and affection are conditional on their behavior. Research in psychology today highlights that children who are punished for making mistakes or who receive little emotional warmth are more likely to develop a need for external validation. They internalize the idea that they must be perfect to gain acceptance, which later translates into the desire to please others at any cost. The people-pleasing habit often leads to poor boundaries. These children may have difficulty saying no or asserting their needs, which can lead to stress and burnout as adults. A study by the American Psychological Association found that a lack of healthy boundaries is linked to higher levels of emotional exhaustion in adulthood. Breaking the cycle of people-pleasing starts with teaching children that it's okay to say no. Parents can help by respecting their child's boundaries and encouraging them to express their own opinions, even if they differ from the family's expectations. When children learn that they're loved unconditionally, regardless of their actions, they begin to value themselves for who they are, not for what they do for others. Praise children for their individuality, not just for doing what others expect. Acknowledging their unique qualities helps them develop self-esteem that doesn't rely on outside approval. As they grow, they'll feel more empowered to make decisions based on their own values, not just to please those around them. Parents can also model self-acceptance and teach their children the importance of standing up for their own needs. In doing so, they help their kids learn how to build strong, healthy relationships based on mutual respect, not on one-sided sacrifices. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more insightful tips for better parenting. Chapter 6. The Hidden Lonely Child. Emotional disconnect from strictness. Overly strict parenting can lead to emotional detachment, where children develop the habit of hiding their feelings. When emotional expression is met with criticism or punishment, kids learn to suppress their emotions to avoid judgment. This often results in children becoming emotionally distant, even from their own parents. Research from the American Journal of Psychiatry suggests that children raised in emotionally distant environments often struggle with building emotional intimacy later in life. The habit of emotional detachment starts early. Kids who are consistently told to stop crying or don't be so sensitive learn that their feelings are not valid. As a result, they may withdraw, avoiding emotional vulnerability to prevent further emotional rejection. Over time, this detachment becomes a coping mechanism to protect themselves from hurt. Emotional disconnect can have serious consequences in adulthood, particularly in relationships. A study by the National Institute of Mental Health found that individuals who grew up in emotionally unsupportive environments are more likely to experience difficulties in forming close, meaningful relationships. They may struggle with expressing their needs or understanding the emotional needs of others. Breaking this habit requires creating a safe, supportive space where children feel comfortable expressing their feelings. Instead of dismissing emotions, parents can validate them. For instance, if a child is upset, instead of saying, "You're fine, stop crying," try, "I can see you're upset, let's talk about it." Encouraging emotional expression can help children build stronger emotional intelligence. When kids are given the opportunity to talk about their feelings, they learn how to process emotions in healthy ways. It's important to teach them that emotions, both positive and negative, are normal and should be expressed appropriately. One strategy for fostering emotional connection is spending quality one-on-one time with your child, away from distractions. This can help build trust and openness. When children feel heard and understood, they are more likely to open up about their feelings and develop stronger emotional bonds with others. Remember to subscribe for more helpful parenting strategies and tips to raise happy, healthy kids.